All right, so we're on the train to New York City right now, trying to get to do the one thing I absolutely hate, which is trying to film in public. And so today I brought with me Jan, who's going to be my accountability partner, making sure that I actually do this. And we've got a couple great things planned. First with breakfast, because we are really hungry. In here looking for a bathroom, but all we got is food.
Don't mention that. We went here because we're
I'm working on something really big right now. It's a project that's going to need me to show up in a completely different way. I'm going to be working with a lot more people, and I'm going to be on camera a lot more often. And honestly, I'm both excited and terrified at the idea. This hotel right here, it's freezing, and right above our heads they have heaters.
I will call an elegant solution.
And so I decided to fix it and approach it head on. I went to New York City with one goal in mind. I wanted to film myself in public, and I wanted to do something that I always felt so uncomfortable doing. We're going towards Go Jang Cafe, but for now, we're just going to get some B-roll. The point was simple. I was going to throw myself into the fire and see if I survive. So the point was to treat it like a boot camp or like a training day of sorts, and the best part was that even if it didn't work out, it didn't really matter. So I realized that the whole point of this was that, I'm trying to do more outside in public and also get better at speaking.
Yeah, with more energy.
Yeah, and we have done exactly the opposite of that.
Yeah, no positiveness.
We've been quietly talking to ourselves the whole time.
We're the sad clown from the circus.
Yeah. This is a lot harder than it looks though, because the second you turn this on, it's like, what do I talk about? I feel like every video that I make, like just at home and stuff, it's like there's just not enough energy when I'm talking or when I'm doing something. I'm always like being really quiet. I have two rules whenever I'm trying to build any new skill. My first rule is that you need to turn it into a sort of habit so that you don't turn it into a one-time thing. It needs to become a sort of practice that you do regularly. Yeah, this is the one thing about the Northeast. It gets very cold. I'm not a big fan of that, because I guess once you get used to, not being cold all the time, it's a little uncomfortable, but I mean, there's a charm to it today at least, because it's not freezing. The second rule is that you need to find somebody to hold you accountable. Now, it doesn't need to be anything exciting, but there needs to be somebody there that basically asks you whether or not you're doing it actively. Yeah. I'm eating like a savage. I'm literally just
for our future cyborg generation who will watch these videos in 200 years, looking like, ooh, my grandpa is taking dinner.
Nice. Like, even though it's, kind of scary, and half of these clips might not even be used, but that's kind of the point. Like, at the end, like, it's to help me.
Because it's not everyday exercise. Say like, oh, how is my posture? How is my movement? We all the time think about it.
So without those two things, the motivation is either going to fade or you'll never get past that initial friction of getting started. It's incredibly difficult to start something that's uncomfortable, but when you have someone that's there holding you accountable and also supporting you along the way, it's just a lot easier to get started and keep going. All right, so we finished our cafe run. Next stop is going to be Poster House. Now, we were supposed to take the subway, but we ate like 1,000,000 calories, so got to burn it off now. The fastest way I've found to kill imposter syndrome is to simply throw yourself into the fire and try and survive. You don't want to thrive necessarily. You don't want to be in the mindset of trying to crush it. You're just trying to survive. Because once you can prove that you can survive, you'll realize that it's not quite as scary as you thought. If you can prove to yourself that you can make it, you can work on crushing it later. So we finished one exhibit after like an hour. It took us 1 hour to finish that, but what'd you think?
I start to hate fascism more.
Posters worked.
Yeah, everything was about how great is Mussolini.
Actually, I really like the design of it, because it went from the start, where Mussolini came to power, then their peak, and then their downfall, and then him without a head.
It's how it should be. I found it enjoying, and I read everything because it's interesting to know about 60 years ago. No, 100 almost.
More, yeah.
And I noticed the design, the art is repetitive. In our current poster, what we have in our days, it looks like minimalism from Apple when they tried to limit at minimum the colors.
What surprised me the most was how quickly that feeling shifted. At the beginning of the day, we were really terrified, we were nervous, we were also very tired, and we didn't know how to bring the camera out. We were kind of trying to hide it. We didn't know if it was awkward or not. But by more or less midday, I was able to take out the camera without caring too much and we knew where and how to do these things without making a scene. In a place called Taco Mahal, I want tacos. You know, we knew that most people simply don't care. And the thing is, that didn't take months. It took a few hours to really get comfortable.
All right, well, yeah, so Taco Mahal is a 10 out of 10. This was a really weird side quest, but definitely a good one. And it's probably the worst place we've filmed so far. This is the most crowded, the most insane. And we're also in the back where everybody can see you, so it's pretty rough. All right, so we're done with Taco Mahal. Crazy concept, but we're gonna head over to Soho now to do some shopping. I am actually looking for shoes because my shoes are all old enough that they need to, at least to replace one for walking because the supports are gone. I'll be honest, today was the perfect weather for this.
Today was perfect weather. It's my London weather.
Yeah.
Which I like the most.
All right, wow. So this was a very long day and I just came home. Being over here, awful weather, but honestly, it's nice to be back because I am so tired. We kind of just stopped filming after a bit because it became just so tiring. So I was editing on the train and the clips were just incredible. You know, I started out thinking that this video was going to be one of the worst I've ever made. You know, I was putting myself in a position that I never have, and that was kind of the point, right? I was supposed to be doing something that's genuinely difficult for me. And it turns out that I was able to actually do that. And the video turned out really well, and I'm really thankful to Jan for, you know, supporting me and, you know, being there for me on this journey. You know, without him, this would have been a million times worse. If you're filming alone in a restaurant and stuff, it's, you know, pretty scary. But, you know, with him around, I got more and more comfortable to the point where, you know, towards the end, we were just, you know, whipping out our cameras, you know, making videos, compared to, you know, when we started at the cafe, we were just, you know, kind of terrified to bring out the camera. We didn't know what to say, and it just became better over time. Thank you guys for watching if you watched this far. If not, I mean, the point of this video was purely to just put myself out there, and I think I absolutely managed to do that. And on that note, this weather is absolutely awful. I am so freaking tired right now. I'm going to sleep.